Hey pal. Hey pal.
Hey pals, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you may be, whatever time it may be. It is good to have you, as always, in the collective colloquial here. Eric McFarlane here, back in the Hey Pal Radio studio after a little while. Look, my bad. I went to Adelaide, got rained on for about 4 days, and I came back with a nasty bug that I just couldn't shake. So, my sincere apologies, but we are Barbershop 2 back in business. Before we get into this episode, I want to quickly acknowledge and declare that this particular week has been alarming and disturbing when it comes to the language surrounding women, content creators, and sport. I just want to acknowledge and express support to the women who do incredible things on the court, field, pitch, and off it as well. I always feel so privileged to be a small part of the greater community surrounding and celebrating women in sport. And long may it thrive as relic attitudes hope to get buried further into the past. On the topic, though, of newsbreakers, on the Hey Pal Radio socials, we are always going to go out of our way to celebrate our pals and the great things they do. That said, we do miss things, and we do miss some things outside of the Hey Pal universe as well. So I can't recommend enough following the likes of our pals Ellie Curlis, Jacinta Govind, and Kerry Waller from Courtside Coffee Catch Up as a starting point. And again, as a starting point for much more thorough coverage of news breaking, happenings, and everything going on in women's sport. I question what clock they work off because it appears to have more hours in the day than mine, but I never question their passion, their resourcefulness, and their work ethic. So make sure you're following all the accounts there, and there's a lot of people doing some great things in the content creation space. Speaking of work ethic, how's that for a segue? We come to today's guest, who is constantly moving, always on the go between continents, formats. They're a master of all trades and a decorated superstar of Australian basketball. Our guest on the other side of this break is Aussie Gangurrus, Marena Whittle. All right, we're back with Hey Pal Radio, and once we come back after a hiatus, we have to come back. We have the tippy top. We have to bring back a star to kick us back into the season. And there's not many bigger stars than the person we've got on the line at the moment. A Gangurru, an absolute superstar here and abroad, and hey, an Olympian to boot as well. Of course, we speak of the one, the only Marena Whittle. Marena, hey pal.
Hey, how you going?
Doing well, thank you very much. I know that you're a very, very busy person at the moment. A lot of different courts that you're treading on at the moment. So I appreciate the time. And speaking of courts that you'll be treading onto, the news has just broken. Congratulations, you're in the World Cup squad for the 3x3 in Poland. So very timely, this recording. We always date the podcast. Congrats. How do you feel to be selected and be headed to Poland for that one?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me tonight. I'm quite busy, but I always try and find time for things that matter, and this absolutely matters. I'm very excited for making the World Cup team. This is going to be 3 World Cups in a row. Best finish is a bronze, but I have a feeling, and I'm really got my eyes set on that gold. So going to Poland this time, new crew, different tactics, but same goal, gold. So yeah.
I mean, your experience in the 3x3, you're pretty much the experienced person on there in terms of the time you've spent in that format. How do you feel that this sort of team's coming together? You mentioned that there's sort of new tactics, but there's still a similarity with the coaching staff with Damon there as well.
Yeah, well, 3x3, it's such an intense game, right? And it's a game about finding mismatches and taking advantage of them. And so our teams have looked very different if you've watched any of the games of this season. We've got different groups out there, and I'm playing with different people each time. And it is a new challenge for me, being the most experienced and trying to help out my teammates and make reads and adjustments on the fly. But with every tournament, with every game, we get more experience and we get better together. And it's the same coaching staff. We still got Damon for the Cups. We got Hannah Lowe for the Women's Series. We've got the same sort of style that we're trying to play, but we've got new players in, so that just adds like a different look as well. So there's new blood coming in. It's exciting, and like I'm just very confident in the Gangurrus moving forward.
I'm going to ask a two-part question, and annoyingly, I'm going to ask it in two parts where I'm going to like wait for the answer on the first part, just because I'm annoying like that. But
That actually
first
helps my
part
brain.
was
Thank you so much.
brilliant. All right,
Yeah.
I like this. I feel as though we're on the same page. The first part being, what draws you as a player, the appeal of playing 3x3?
Great question for me. I've played it for a long time now, even when it was back, like when I was in Australia. For me, the attraction to it was the speed of it, the openness of the court, the ability to just hoop and make reads on the fly. And it's not, besides like some fundamental rules, like it's really just whatever, just go get a bucket and stop them from scoring. And I really like that.
So then I see that obviously in your game and just obviously the game in general. So the second part of the question is, how do you think that format plays to your strengths as a basketballer?
I think my game is built for 3x3. I think that I'm built for 3x3. I think I've got the pace. I think I've got the decision making. I think I've got the skill, and then I've also got the physical strength. I'm not too tall and I'm not too short, where I can always seem to find a mismatch. So I think I'm so blessed that 3x3 found me, or that I found 3x3. It is. I love this game, and I would love to go to many more Olympics for it.
All right, good segue. And, you know, again, we like to ruin the fact that I send the rundown beforehand. But Olympics, like growing up, you know, and this is also the bit where I age myself here. You grow up, you see the Channel 7 sound effects, you see Bruce McAvaney, you see the Olympics. It's the very best athletes from around the world. It is the pinnacle of sport, no matter what sport you follow. What's it feel like to be able to say that, you know, you've earned the right and you earned the right to be an Olympian?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like awe-inspiring. I'm speechless to it. It's the biggest and the best privilege you could have as an athlete, is to represent your country at that level. Second behind the Commonwealth Games and World Cup, and anything behind that is just like your personal accomplishments. But to represent your country, and maybe I just bleed green and gold, but every time I put on that jersey is just an amazing experience, something I'm just so incredibly proud of. And then being able to say that I went to the Olympics, and then the steps and the way in which the Gangurrus got to the Olympics was just so classic. Like, we only had one shot, and the one shot that we had, the one tournament that we had, we were playing against the best players and best teams in the world, and there was only one winner from that tournament, and we hadn't won a major international tournament at that time. And so of course it had to go against Canada, who we'd never really beaten. Of course we qualified together in Japan. Of course, like, everything was just perfect until we got to the Olympics, and we had some injuries which kind of spiraled our campaign. But it's honestly Cinderella story, and I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of my teammates, and just, yeah, it's something you can't take away from me. So proud of myself and so proud of the team.
Absolutely, should be proud, and definitely, I put my hands up. I'm not going to take that away from you, and you know, I just value my life too much there. But not necessarily personal specific examples, but I'm glad you mentioned sort of the injury troubles there. How important is that sort of having that full rotation, and the sort of, can you explain to people who maybe haven't got into 3x3 yet and they're lost, just the energy levels and that sort of, you know, rapid fire approach to the game, and how that format works?
Yeah, so it's a race to 21. You've got 10 minutes, and it's get it out of the basket and you clear it and you go score. And you can only sub. It's 3 people on a court, and you can only sub at every stoppage, right? And there's teams that can play with 3 people, and that's possible, but it is very, very difficult. And that change, that extra body, and when you get that sub, you've only got like 20, 30 seconds maybe on the bench at a time to catch a breath. And it just helps you kind of like put everything back into the picture. You only get 1 timeout per team, and you've got 2 media timeouts. So that extra body is super important. Now, when Lauren went down, we battled, man. Like, we still took it to overtime, and we got beat in both overtimes with a 2-point shot within like 5 seconds. And it sucks. Like, it's so heartbreaking that was our story. However, like, I wouldn't have changed the crew that I went with. I wouldn't have changed a single thing about like our whole 4-year journey together. That whole cycle was perfect. But yeah, playing with like that extra body is it's just like that extra blood on the court and that extra change up every couple, I don't know, every like 20, 30 seconds is a different change up, there's a different look, and that's really important as well.
And so, to that point, last one on the Olympics, but parlaying into current day, like it's
Mm.
decades ago, but it was only a couple of years. But what do you think was the biggest learning you took from that grand tournament, that grand scale, and that team effort that you can still carry forward and sort of bring to your teammates and bring to your game in the current 3x3 tournaments?
Yeah. How do I explain this? The stadium itself was like nothing you've ever experienced. It was just this like box. It was so loud. When we got ready, we were underneath the stands and people would be slamming their feet. Honestly, I felt like what are they called? A gladiator, like going into the arena.
Oh, wow,
and
yeah.
I know how that sounds, but like we're underneath the stands, and as we walk out, it's like it just opens up into this like stadium where we're just surrounded by these people, and shooting free throws against France in Paris when they haven't won a game and we're playing with 3 people, and having the entire, like, it was ringing in my ears when I'm at the free throw line and still being able to put that down. Like, the experience that I walk away from is like, I don't think, like, nothing can ever compare to the pressure that you feel making the Olympics and then competing in the Olympics, and being able to make decisions and like make tough decisions as well, and just the lifestyle that you have to be so locked in, and like nothing will ever compare to preparing for the Olympics and playing in the Olympics, and then just having that and walking with me, and like even bringing into my teammates and just watching my teammates and my current team, and even in NBL 1, like everyone's kind of like losing the plot at tiny things. I'm like, that's not, come on now, like that's just so easy. Like this is how we deal with it, you know? Like I've got the answers here, you know what I mean? So it's been refreshing as well, like coming back in and now having a new cycle and a new bunch of players has been definitely an adjustment. But yeah, so much, it's almost like I have to keep on stopping myself from sharing too much, because I'm like, I just have so much that I want to help, but it's their journey now as well.
Yeah, so part of that is them learning lessons on their own as well, and picking up from their own experiences for sure. But obviously, there's still an oracle of information that you have, and I'm glad you mentioned the sounds and the noise, because as a commentator, we're pretty immune to it because we've got the headset on and we don't hear a lot of it. But I'm just curious, like as a professional, whether it's 3x3, whether it's a 5-on-5, NBL 1, WNBL, in packed stadiums in China, wherever it may be, how do you lock in? Do you have any sort of tactics or any sort of triggers that help you lock in and blunt out the distraction that can be there in a basketball game with the noise, the lighting, crowds, and all of that?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get overstimulated in those sorts of environments for sure. Like there's so much, and especially when it's out of rhythm sounds is like one thing that really gets me. And for that, it's like I try to stay, my focus is when I look at the rim, and it's like during the warm-ups, and I just have to take a moment to like hear my breathing and like focus on my breathing and just lock into the rim. And even in 5-on-5 and stuff as well, I just like have to try and keep my body in check. For me as well, and this is something that I do and I've always done since college, is I get my yips out early. So if you ever see me playing 5-on-5, even on 3-on-3, I like to move a lot, and I like to like just get my body shaking. I dance. The girls that I play with, they know that I yell a lot. I'm just very hyper and get all that extra energy out, so that by the time that I'm on the court, like I've already kind of used up all my excess little bits, and now I can like lock in. So I'm like more like I've reached my flow state a little bit faster. Yeah, that's my tip and trick, honestly. Just like get your yips out early, and especially for 5-on-5 games when it is a little bit of an exciting crowd and you're in like a brand new environment. Like you just need to give yourself that grace that you're going to have those couple moments or couple minutes at first, just taking it all in. You're probably going to make some mistakes. That's totally fine, but you got to get it out of your system and then just focus on after that. Like accept it and then move on, and then we're back on.
That's brilliant. Like that's such a good tip, and it's crazy to think like just how much does go on and how you have to lock in like that. So the other thing that I find like remarkable is how you find the balance in terms of, you know, different teams, different, you know, we joked about it before recording, different continents and things like that. How do you
Mm.
find, I don't want to say regularity, but how do you find balance in terms of training, both yourself physically, mentally, but then also being adaptable to different teams and different formats? Like, how do you schedule yourself, or how do you find that balance?
Yeah, I'm still in I'm finding this year's balance. And I think it's being open and comfortable with the idea that I'm never going to, I might not be perfect at first, but I can always try to find that system that works for me. And like a system that works for me last year might not work for me this year, and being open to that. As far as like my adjustment and how I adapt and how I make it work for me and that balance, for me, my off court life is so important to me, so that when I'm on the court, I can put all my energy into that. For me, that looks like being around family, being around friends. When I'm not on the court, I'm relaxing. I'm putting effort into my body, into myself, and being like out in nature. Now, when I'm overseas, like when I was in China, that was a little bit more difficult because I wasn't staying in a very rural place. I was staying in quite a built-up city. And so then it's a bit different, and then it looks different, and then I need to pour into different avenues. Like I called my friends more, and I kind of reconnected with the earth through like my connections with my people and my relationships and stuff, and buying a lot of stuff. I bought so much shopping. My God, man! Like I got these shoes coming in, and I was just like, where am I going to put that? It's so bad. It got me good. A market hates to see me coming. It's such a sucker.
I would
But
have thought
yeah,
it's the
it's like
opposite. I
finding
thought they
love.
would have been saying, "Here, have this, have this." If you're a sucker, you'd be their best friend, wouldn't you?
I'm the best friend because because I'm nice to them and I get along well with them, but also I'll buy stuff off them. Yes, 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 yes. But no, it's
Um,
balance is all about like finding it, man, and being open to it changing and like it might work one day, but then another day like you might be completely off, and you got to try and figure it out. I'm not being upset or feeling shame or guilt that you are struggling. You know, I'm being okay, not being okay.
that's such a good point, and I think just to sort of take from that, I always think about when, you know, people come and talk to me about like exams and things like that,
Mm,
and a lot of people put a lot of pressure on like the result of an exam, but like to your point, slightly different circumstances, but things aren't going to be perfect. You're not going to know the right way straight away, whether you're a
mm,
youngster taking an exam, whether you got work coming up or things like that. So having that, I guess, being kind to yourself that you're not going to get it right all the time, you know, because
mm.
I think sometimes you can sort of beat yourself up too much about that. You know, we are human. We have to learn and adapt, and that's okay. You make mistakes along the way. So I'm so glad you shared that. That's a really, really good message and good point you've made there. Um,
Yeah,
you
100%.
spoke
I
about
also think that, sorry to cut you off. I think
no,
that's really
no,
important
go
because
ahead.
even like it's so tough to see these kids just get really caught up in like one game or one practice, like practice
Mm,
especially, or just shooting, or even just, I don't know, saying the wrong thing. I just think that there's just so much more to life, and we got to just be a little bit kinder to each other. But it's just, and I like to remind everyone that basketball is just a game. It's given me an incredible life, and it's an incredible privilege to play it at an elite level. But it's like I'm putting a ball in a hoop, and it's the main income for me, and it's my life. But it's also just, yeah, it's not all that I am. You know, my worth isn't about that. So yeah, sorry, continue.
no, exactly. I mean, thank you for sharing that. It was much more insightful than what I think I was going to say. But no, in all seriousness, no. It's absolutely a great message, and I think especially young basketballers who we're very fortunate that a lot of youngsters making their way up the rank, whether they're juniors or just trying to make it at the NBL one level, they do listen and sort of pick up those things, and that's why I like talking about
Mm,
people's start in the game, decisions they've made around whether it was college or whatnot. So.
mm,
I do want to quickly jump back in the slightly way back machine. You know, you mentioned college a little bit there as well. So when you came back from college, it did take a couple of years to find that next to find the WNBL opportunity. So you had the NBL, wasn't called the NBL one there, but talk to us a little bit about like what that grind looked like, and you know when you come back from college, the sort of decisions you have to make about your game and sort of your career pathways.
mm. Yeah. For anyone going away, my biggest thing is like you need to have your own back. You need to you need to be your biggest advocate coming back, because especially when you go away to college, and I went to a mid-major, went to a D1, I had a great career, great college career, and when I came back, I signed with Townsville Fire. I got injured, and so I couldn't play. And the people who knew about me knew me, and the people who didn't, I felt like I needed to like prove myself to them. And what that looked like back then, when I was a bit younger and more maybe impressionable, was like the coach in front of me at the time was the most important person. Their opinion was the most important. Now, I wish I could go back and I could hold my hand as a junior player, as a younger player, and be like, hey, this is just one person's opinion, and don't make yourself smaller or don't adjust your entire playbook because of one person's potentially negative opinion on you. And I really let like coaches impact my playing style. I let coaches impact my confidence. I let coaches impact my self-esteem, like everything, even my personality and stuff. And it took me a long time to find more seasons than I wish that it did, to find a coach that understood me, a coach that liked me, a coach that wanted to play me and like didn't really care about my mistakes. It started in NBL 1 level, and then it took me to 3x3, and that was at Ringwood Hawks. That's where I first got after being back from college as well. Like I played for Nunawading and I played for Knox, and it was wonderful. But when I got to Ringwood Hawks under Tim Motton, it was just something changed that year. Getting under Damon Lowery with the 3x3 Gangurrus, something changed. He's a player's player for sure. And then just like I could feel my chest opening up, and like I just could feel the light that I am, and like especially in the player that I am. And I had my own back, and I was confident, and I could just like be myself, so I could play like myself, and that's a freaking hooper, you know? So it was a tough couple of years for sure, but once I got there, I wish I found it earlier for sure, but like that's my journey, you know?
Yeah, and you're right. Sometimes the journey does have those winds, and it takes a few bumps and other cliches. But it's a really good point. You find your people, you find what
Mm,
works for you. I
mm,
am intrigued as an outsider looking in.
mm,
So you mentioned Damon there from the 3x3 point of view as a coach, right? So from an outsider point of view, people may think he's this really passionate, entertaining, braggadocious commentator. You know,
mm.
and is like more a character than sort of. And don't get me wrong, you listen to his insight, it's still there. Like if
Yeah.
you're watching along on the WNBL or the NBL, but what is it that makes him that player's coach? What is it about him that you drew to as a player, having that player coach relationship?
Damon. I love Damon. That's my guy. I don't know if I don't think people are as privileged to understand Damon to the level that I know him. And his absolute privilege, but he is an incredibly caring human. He cares about his people. And when he's got your back, like you'd never need to question him. And when it comes to him being a player's player, like he was the first guy who was like, you know what, if you prove yourself, you're gonna get a go. Like I just want people who are gonna show up and do it and not complain and not make any excuses and just do it. And I forgot to mention this, but that was my thing. Like I'd play and I would show up, and good, bad, or worse, there was always a reason why I couldn't get picked. And we had Damon and I had a coming together moment, and he was like, "Look, just don't give anybody an excuse, and then you're probably not going to have these problems." And then from then on, I was like, "Right, mental switch. Like I'm not going to give anyone an excuse to not pick me. I'm just going to be the best at camp. I'm going to be the best person, best player, best at defense. No one can score on me. No one can stop me." And I've witnessed Damon have that sort of connection. For me, it looked like that, but I've witnessed him connect with all of the players, especially in Gangurrus. But I've witnessed him do that with everyone and put the time in with the staff, with the players. If Damon's got your back, you're set, man. Like that's my guy.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because and that's the opportunity we get here. It's to actually get that understanding, not necessarily peek behind the curtain, but that understanding of what it's like to have those sorts of relationships in the game. And yeah, it's lovely to hear that, and it's great to hear that that connection has helped you grow your game and
Mm.
I was going to say understand your worth. I don't think that's the right phrasing, but hopefully it's like to understand your strengths, I think, and sort of
Yeah,
be able to build.
yeah, and I think when you see him do all of those missions and stuff, like that
Yeah.
starts that comes from such a good place because, I mean, we're funny wired people, right? And like all he's doing really, like obviously he's doing like a very extreme version, but when he speaks to us as players, it's just like, okay, well, what's going to come out when you're in your most vulnerable, or what's going to come out in your most like intimate, or you're most sad, or you're most like tired, or whatever, and then like let's get better. So it's definitely more of a human factor rather than as a basketball factor, you know. I love D. I could talk about him all day. I love that man.
I kind of want to hear about him all day, but I want to also hear about you, and I'm also mindful of everything else that we've got going on
Yeah.
at the moment. So I do want to, before we bring this to the home stretch, just quickly ask you sort of what the next couple of weeks looks like for you in terms of preparations for the World Cup. Don't give me a day-to-day itinerary. I don't think I've got the cardio
Oh
to hear that, but what's it
man,
kind of look like, general vibe, as you prepare
general.
to that next sort of benchmark?
Yeah, okay. Well, I would give you the day to day because at this point I'm just going day by day. It's actually been insane. Um, so we've got a pre-World Cup camp in Serbia, which we're off to on Monday. Then we've got the World Cup for the following week. And when we return, we've got 2 more women's series that we're trying to go to, which will be overseas in Europe. And then, depending on who's on the team, hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got the Commonwealth Games at the middle of July as well. And then after that, we've just got a couple women's series. So 2 major tournaments in the next month and a half, and some more mini tournaments over the next 2 months as well.
Yeah,
That was
it's
so simple. Oh my God, in one breath.
I was
Damn.
gonna
Damn.
say, how did you do that? I mean, you're an athlete, so you know how to control your breath work and
And I'm
whatnot. But
also
still,
like,
that
I'm
was
playing NBL1, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm training, man. I'm getting around courtside, you know.
yeah. See, now we're making it confusing, but
Yeah, and I
there's
like
so much
dribble
going on.
all the rest of it in.
I've got 3 quick fire questions
Yeah.
that usually wrap up our episodes in this series of Hey Pal Radio, but I'm going to be cheeky. I'm going to pinch one more beforehand.
Easy.
As many people have seen, with my 10 million social media posts and 10 million accounts a day, big fan of tattoos, and I think this is something we have in common. Although I think yours are a little less nerdy. I don't know, maybe not. Tell us a little bit about sort of your connection with tattoos now, in terms of what got you into them, and I know that you think you got the most recent one as
Mm,
well, about a week or so ago. Tell us about
mm.
your tattoos and sort of your connection to that art and how that's grown for you.
Great question. I don't know. I think I've always been extremely expressive, but I'm very connected to my people, right? And all of my tattoos represent a person or a people or a thing in my life, right? So on my arm, my very first one, which was like a warrior who's defeated the beast and she's wearing it as a headrest. Like that's my mother. That's my mom. She went through like a big battle. She went through a big divorce. She lost her sister, and she's like still presenting to the world. Yeah, and then I've got my brother on my outer arm. I've got myself on my shoulder. I've got my sister on my behind my neck, just with me always, still alive. And I've got my other sister with me, and I've got all my tattoos have like a very deep meaning to me. And I've always felt, I don't know, I trust my gut so much. And when something sticks and it feels purposeful, I feel like I need to have that, right? I've got Athena on my shoulder, she's protecting me. Yeah, and this most recent one, like all of them, I love them and I love how they sit, and it just has to feel right for me. I've never been one person to just like go and get something slapped on me. And like I've got the rings, and I've also got this kaizen on my hand, which is one of my favorites. It means like when you do something, you need to walk away better than. You don't just do things to do things, pretty much. And my most recent one actually is this like throat tattoo, which is I think is actually one of my favorite, and it's like representing like my spirituality, but also like the eye for protection, my third eye. I feel very. I'm really love this one, man. I think it's actually so cool.
Yeah, look,
Sorry, I could talk about tattoos forever because I just think
no.
they're so perfect. I think they're so beautiful.
I also was trying to find a better way to say it looked badass as well, but I guess that's what we're going with at this time.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I can say it, but like, I appreciate that you said that.
No, I think so. I think, and without going too derailing too much or getting too self-absorbent there, I think we've got very similar approaches, even though different stylistically. It's just I don't think I could pull off the stuff that you pull off, so I just put like random pop art on there. But I love that story, and I love
thank you, man.
styles. Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Final three, quick fire three, before we let you get back to the madness of your schedule. Now, I'm not sure if this would be the case, but is there a team from another code or another sport that you do follow in your downtime, or are you sort of headstrong on the basketball?
Another code. I actually don't follow AFL, but I like to watch football. Like, if it's on, I'll watch it. I find I'm just like a very competitive person. Obviously, I'm going for the Tillies. We love Matildas. And the gliders and rollers.
Yes.
Big fan.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's one thing I'm excited for the Com Games because it's able and para, able-bodied and para in the same village, and like they interchange all of the competition. So if you're watching the Commonwealth Games, check it out because it's like 3x3 wheelchair basketball is actually so insane.
Oh, I just marvel when I watch any wheelchair basketball, but let alone 3x3. That's just like on NOS. That is crazy.
Oh, it's insane, man. Yeah, it's insane. It's actually so sick. And they're the Wombats too. So like because they're the Wombats, we tried to figure out like what we were going to be called, and that's when in Birmingham, that's when we came up with Gangurrus. So all thanks to the Wombats. Yep. All right, next question.
Love that. Do you have a nickname that you go by commonly, and can you share its origin?
In high school I was MJ, because my middle name is Josephine, so MJ, much easier than Marena. As an adult, I've gotten Riri or Ree, either way. And when I was in Spain, because for some reason no one could pronounce Ree, they would call me Ray. So if you ever see me, it's Ray or Ree, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, and in China, they would just call me Marie. So.
Okay. Is
Okay.
that a nickname or just efficiency, I think, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's just efficiency at this point, and I'll answer.
And the final one is, and I think you do, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you have a go-to number if you have your druthers that you always want to be wearing on your jersey? And is there any meaning behind that?
I'll just stick with 21. Like it's been my playing number as a professional. Because when I went to Townsville, Michaela Cox was 21, and I had to go to 32 at there. Oh, sorry, no, Michaela Cox was 32, so I had to go to 21. And then so my whole playing career I've been 21. China I had to go 42, and I'm very excited to come back to 21. So 21.
Awesome. Well, as we've mentioned, and as we can tell from our video podcast here, you are so flat tack that I've managed to pin some time there while you've been in the car. So I really do thank you for making this time. I know we had a little bit of jiggery pokery to try and find a time that works, but I feel as though we've barely scratched the surface, which is a good thing. It's the old showbiz thing, keep them wanting more. But I've really enjoyed our time and our chat, and appreciate all that you've shared. All the best for the coming weeks, but I think it's coming months and coming madness. So hope to see you kicking goals with both feet for the Gangurrus and all the other courts that you do pop up with in between. So thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks so much for fitting me in, man. I really appreciate it. It's been a good time, good chat. We barely covered the surface, but it's been good. Can't wait. Maybe another one. Who knows?
That brings us to the ending of this episode of Hey Power Radio. Thank you so much to Marena for her time and such a great chat. As I've mentioned, her work, which is huge, her calendar, I imagine, is huger. That's not a word. So I'm really grateful Marena was able to afford the opportunity to share with our magnificent listening viewership this chance to share. before we wrap up today, there's been a lot of going on since we last recorded. On the return front, Sheree Kalea and Piper Anderson, our pals have returned to the court after their respective long layoffs due to injury. And look, we could not be happier for the life of me. And oh, wait, speaking of life, huge congratulations to our pal Mariana Tolo and her hubby Dan Jackson on the arrival of Maya. Adorable, 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 adorable. Knowing Tolo ever so briefly through our chats on here and briefly in person, she's a wonderful human, and I have no doubt is already a wonderful mother. So congrats both to Tolo and Dan. The WNBL free agency signing commitment tracker is going crazy, and I am excited for all of these announcements, subject to league review and approval, of course, yes. So many high-profile moves. Tassie are building their inaugural roster, and tap there for the audio listeners. The Perth Lynx are bolstered by the return of Sammy Whitcomb. It's enough to make a grown man cry, and hey, it's me. Hi, I'm the grown man. It's me. I'm wishing, though, Sammy a speedy recovery, not necessarily from injury, but more so from the wrath of the Phoenix Mercury admin, lest she drop another uniform there and reveal post before their time. But no, seriously, hope Sammy heals up quickly and is back on the court doing Sammy things on the court there. Of course, WNBA, oh my days. The Aussie takeover is happening, especially like with our pals. Jade heading back to Seattle and crushing it. Ali Wilson and Mila Soa getting their opportunity. So good. Hard workers, magnificent humans. Didn't take the easy path. They've earned every bit of all the positivity and all the positive things coming their way. So to our pal, Alex Fowler. Now, if I may, I'm the biggest supporter of our pals. They give up precious time to chat. So based on that alone, seeing Fowler in the WNBA at the Liberty is just simply amazing. But why I want to take a bit of time here is when we first made the transition from the old format to focusing purely on women's basketball, the first Insta follow that wasn't from someone I'd reach out to, like to be a guest or trying to connect something up. And that just after the first episode had dropped was Alex Fowler. This is off her own back, just wanted to support us, supporting women's hoops. I mean, we were a complete nothing burger at the time. So yeah, look, I was stoked to go, Fowler? Like, amazing. And just, yeah, so proud to cheer her on and all of her successes. See her in the WNBA. So, yeah, so grateful to Fowler and all our pals who give up their time and support what we're trying to do in a very special community. And of course, I'm grateful to you, our listening viewership, as always, through your patience, patronage, and support. Like, without you, the show doesn't happen. I say it a million times, I'll say it a million more. So thank you very much for listening. And if you have liked what we've done, please do share the word. Socials clips, write us on your preferred service. We appreciate you doing that if you can. It's never expected. It's never deemed the price of admission to do that. But of course, we really appreciate it as it helps the growth. Also, if you have suggestions, ideas, or feedback, I mean, look, our 50th episode is coming up soon. So if you want to hear from some special guests, whether they be new, returning, or have any ideas for how we should celebrate that, please do let us know in the comments below. This is your show. I'm just the ever-changing, evolving hairstyle head of it. So this has always been a show for the basketball community and one that celebrates and wants to hear more and learn more about the amazing people involved in it. So please let me know. Chuck some comments in who you want to hear from, what you want to see. Just let's make it something really special. But until next time, may you continue to do your part magnificently well as you do in supporting the great game, the athletes, officials, coaches, organizations, yourselves as fans, fellow fans, and volunteers, of course, during National Volunteer Week, who support the game. So on that note, it's Eric McFarlane signing off until next time here on Hey Pal Radio. Bye, pals.